Okay, I'm going to make an attempt at episode 3 here. I need some sort of intro to this, which I don't have yet. But it looks like I'm probably going to stick with Savage, in there in some way, even though it's really not my name. It just won't go away from me. So it stays a little bit like what I'm going to talk about today, at least. I was talking to Sarah and I was telling her that our method of communication today is what I would term as a state of indefinite dating. You might be wondering, if you don't date, what I mean by that. Well, you're probably already communicating in this way already, even if you've never been on a date. And it's a type of communication that makes you feel like you have knots in your stomach. It is not good. The dating communication is when you want to ask somebody out, you want to talk to them, you can't, you approach them weirdly, and then they kind of may play some games with you, may not write back to you, or maybe they will at first, and you're all smitten for them. Sorry if I sound jaded. This happens in friendships too. Just happened to me recently. I was not as jaded as I am now prior to that event. But I was somewhat suspicious. Anyway, what happens is that you're kind of constantly trying to get a hold of people, and everyone's kind of distracted. So I would guess I would call it a widespread attention deficit like disorder in the population. And I'm going to speak for the United States. I actually kind of don't want to speak for the countries, although since I'm here, I highly doubt whether other countries are doing much better unless they're communal on this one. And even then, we pretty much are living in a digital world. I mean, look at how many things we're buying. I guess I'd like to look and get the actual numbers. I don't actually have them. Somebody wants to throw them in there in the comments, go ahead. What kind of electronics we're buying. I remember seeing it in a study. We're buying X amount of electronics per year. And I was like, what? That's because I didn't really start buying electronics till the last few years. I had to be given my first smartphone. Now, I'll tell you the way I communicate. When somebody texts me, as soon as I get that text, I do my best to contact them back. If someone emails me, I do the best to contact them back. If somebody dings me on Messenger, I do the best I can to contact them again. If someone rings me on Telegram, same deal. WhatsApp, it's a little fucked up. I'm sorry. I just can't deal with it. You may not hear from me as often. It stopped. There's only one person on WhatsApp, so it's just not there enough. I still would do it if the person was communicative with me a little bit more. If we were communicating on a more regular basis. So when we were, I was actually there and in it. We're just having a little bit of pride. I think both of us have got a lot going on. Again, I'll be checking in on that front. My point is that if you write to me, I'm going to write you back. And don't feel bad about this. Typically, when I write you back, I'm having brain inflammation, pain throughout my body. I haven't eaten, or I'm trying to eat. I barely can function to get 2 to 3 meals into me. My house is a disaster because we're both so fatigued. And if you don't think we're fatigued because, oh, I sound so energetic, when you sit in bed having fevers all day, you'll have a moment of lucidity. That doesn't make you well. And yet I really try, even though I also went through the whole digital thing. The difference is I had I can remember the 90s and even post 2000 when we were actually picking our phones up and getting annoyed by that. And come someone doesn't check their other line. Why are they calling me back? Or the message machine. That was the precursor, everyone. I mean, just keeps going. And do you want to be in a perpetual relationship of dating? Because I don't. I wanted to get the hell away from that. It was really anxiety producing, particularly when you get around people who somehow want to date you but don't want a commitment, and that refers to me, by the way, because I don't know you. Probably didn't do this. Or maybe you did. If you know me, you probably did. You couldn't accept the person didn't want a commitment. Something I'm going to talk about in the next thing, probably. They didn't want one until you're like, but I want one. I want a commitment. Come on, you'll be happy with me. Let's just force it. Let's get married, in fact. I don't understand this dynamic now. I understood it at the time a little bit. So when the person doesn't want to be with you at all, then you want to be with them more. And the same thing's happening, because I want to get sidetracked into dating. The same thing's happening in the general populace. Basically, it's a non-stop ghosting effect that's happening of just not vanishing, disappearing during conversations. Everyone does this. It's not just one person. Most people do this to a varying degree. I'm not saying everyone does it to the same degree. Some people barely do it. Like myself, that's not going to happen to you. If that's happening to you, I am near death. And what I mean is like I'm like in such agony. Like I can barely use my hands. I'm in the fetal position. I'm, undergoing stuff that I wouldn't wish upon most of my worst enemies. So I don't really like this form of communication. The other thing that I'm noticing in communication is people are inundated by the amount of notifications that are on their phones and digital things. They don't know how to control them. Some people like me have tried to shut them off the best they can. They hit the mute for Messenger, or they have their kid or somebody, they go, please shut these off, these notices. I figured it out, a few of them. But people have a desire for me to then be their notification turn off person. So they get frustrated that I'm writing to them at the wrong time. I'm not mad right now as I say that. I'm more perturbed. I can't be, just imagine if I'm going to, with every one of my contacts, make sure that I have a specialized way that I contact them. So one person wants me to contact them every day, nonstop. Every time one person doesn't want me to contact them because they have sensitivity when they hear notifications, or they just are so overwhelmed, so they don't want my message in there unless they message me, which means I can't do anything until they tell me I can. Yeah, I'm just going to walk away from that. Bye-bye. I'm not going to do it. That's not fair. That's totally unfair. But at the same time, being the empath that I am, I'm wondering what's causing this phenomenon. So I think what it is the person's also overwhelmed in the dating sick, not in the stomach situation. The person's overwhelmed by all the notifications. Then if they turn the notifications off, they forget more because there's nothing to remind them. Remember the dinging, not dinging, flashing red light when you came home from the answer machines? No flashing light, no message, no conversation. So I get it. That's a conundrum. It's one I can't help with, really. I do my best. And I will do my best. I'll usually switch to a different form of communication, but I'm finding myself to be in an increasingly isolated situation. And I don't think this shut-in was very good. And it has not been helpful that somebody pointed out that it technically was not a quarantine 1,000,000 times either. That didn't help. Look, like Patty Hearst stayed with her captors. They said, you can go at some point. And she was like, yeah, I know. I know I can. They didn't even have to worry. With everything they did to her, you'd think she would have gone running, right? But she didn't. And we didn't either. We stayed at home for the most part. Or some of us didn't. Some of us rebelled. Good for you. Your group led you to do a different action. And my group led me to many different actions. I don't have a group, okay? Because I have several groups. I'm not saying I don't have a group. I have several groups of people. And because I'm a people pleaser, you find me doing stuff that some people wouldn't do. Like if I'm around a person that's like very anxious about, their illness or autoimmune disease or even just anxious, I'm going to try to help them. I'm going to try to put a mask on. I'm going to try to do whatever. If somebody's really, really, bothered by their rights being taken away and they feel like, that's happening, I'm going to not I won't necessarily sacrifice safety, but I'm going to say, well, I understand. Like, I get your feelings, and as long as I'm able to do what I want to in front of you, and I don't have to, necessarily go in a bar and dance with you, I think that's fine. No one's forcing me to go into a bar and dance either. But at the same time, it's kind of like, at what point are things going to start going back to normal? I mean, I keep going back to that even when I discuss this. So I'll come back to my original thing, which is, why are we interacting like boyfriend and girlfriend, or girlfriend and girlfriend, or boyfriend and boyfriend? I am not discriminating, or somebody who does not identify as anything out there dating. What do you want to be in this type of relationship? I don't. Especially because I feel like I'm in that sort of relationship with multiple people. Does that make me? I don't want to make it. I don't want to demonize any way of living. But does that make me like somebody who has multiple spouses? Kind of like I'm dating multiple people. Now I'm just kind of joking around. But I'm serious when I say the stress level that it produces to not hear back from people, to wait. It's a stress level I didn't see coming as somebody who communicates. My major shouldn't have been sociology. My major should have been communications if I had a major at all. It would have been actually better for me at the height of YouTube to get on there, get in there, and get going. Or just go into places and just say, I'm really good at communicating. I've actually done it. I wrote to this person to apply for a job. It's been a bit, but it was when I was in vocational rehabilitation, and they sent me a full-time position as a disability intake worker, and I was like, what the heck? Like, I can't do this. Sorry, I'm sidetracked. I know. You're probably going, this is not about dating. No, but it was uncomfortable. So, oh man, did I just lose my train of thought? What was I saying?
Disability thing. Okay. You're talking about you have this whole...
Yeah, so I applied for this job, but I said, I don't think I'm going to be able to do the job full time. Half time would be pushing it, but I could volunteer. And I wrote this huge letter. It was my substitute for a resume because, well, when you've been sick for the last 20 plus years and you've mainly gone to school when you were functional, and your work history as well, just pretty slim when it's on the record. No one cares if you took care of your kids. That doesn't matter. That's not a job. Or if you did business around your house and you made your household function. So, but this person said, you are really good at writing. Like, I think I want to offer you this job. And I was like, wow. Because I don't have the background to do this. Generally speaking, you'd want to see someone with some legal background, maybe paralegal background, legal background, in my opinion, or somebody who's got social worker background. I have 3. I'm a senior at university level. I've taken a lot of social classes, so I get it. But I'm a writer, amateur writer, but I consider myself a writer at times. Sometimes I don't when I don't feel well. So it's on that alone, I think I could have been a communicator. I could have worked in communications. I wouldn't have wanted to work in journalism, maybe part of radio, talk radio, something like that. Voiceover. I am a communicator. This is killing me. This is killing me. Any thoughts on how to reverse it? I have a thought. So I'll share with you what I shared with my daughter. I believe, and this could be in the making for a sci-fi in the future for me, that we have, been training robots here, a lot of AI stuff going on. Everyone's familiar with that, I'm assuming. I think that what's going to happen is these robots are going to be the answer to mankind's problems. That they're going to start actually going, what the hell? And they're going to be what's training us. They're going to figure it out, kind of come to life, become human. And this is my idea, by the way. Better not say it out there. I'll sue you because I'll have it published. See, I'm right here. And then they're going to find certain people. They're going to switch mankind. I can't tell you my plot. They're going to switch mankind so that mankind is saved by robots. Ironically, they're going to stop us from our digital hell. or hells, respectively. Another topic I want to talk about is groups and um, groups by default, which would be groups of individuals that are sitting in different rooms. For example, I thought they were called nominal groups. So those are some ideas, and you're free to talk about something you might want to in the comments section. I may or may not see it, but I will try. I'm hoping to maybe start something on like Spotify, get something going there, and then come back here, like use different venues that are free. I don't have tons of money, so I'm not going to be able to spend tons of money. Anyway, that's going to be it for today. I think it's a good question to decide, though. Do we want to date nonstop, permanently, even people that we're not romantically involved with, and feel those knots in our stomach? I don't. Go ahead and answer in the comments whether you do. And thank you for joining us tonight. That is me, and my Sarah's in the background. Bye bye.